And we've got the one and only. I'm just going to
Fernando Barrios is here.
Waiting. Welcome, Fernando. How are you,
Fernando to the house, yo. What's up?
It's been a while. I have to apologize. I've been in and out of the hospital. My multiple myeloma came back, so I've been spending a week in the hospital getting chemo, a week recovering, another week in the hospital. So
Fernando, no need to apologize for that.
You don't have to apologize. Why are you don't apologize? The question is, how is that going? How are you doing?
It's going. It's going to be rough going, but it's gonna be fine. Yes, I'd like that. That'd be fine.
We should do that.
Which reminds me, congratulations to Alex and Roberto on their show. I really think that what they're doing is very important for the Spanish community, because you've got a large minority group that I think will feel included in the community, and I think what they're doing is very important. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank
Look,
you,
I think what you muted, you don't. No one mutes Fernando. My God.
Oh, yeah, mom says hello. You know that I was going to be on the call today.
Does she get to come to the hospital, or does she have to stay out too? You can't see anybody.
No, she'll get to come, but again, she'll have to be. She can only go for a few minutes, and she has to cover herself in.
Like blowing the plastic bubble.
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of cool. Your mom becomes a sci-fi character.
Yeah, I miss you, Robert. I miss the whole community. You guys make me laugh.
You're here now.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Fernando, I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm so sorry. We have so many other people on the queue. But again, thinking of you, and
thank you.
Nothing but positive thoughts your way, okay?
And say hi to your mother for me.
I really appreciate it. I will. I certainly will.
You actually just choked me up.
Roberto.
Fernando was such a special member of the community. I just wanted to do a little something to honor him.
That was very nice. I guess this will be the last time I ever say this, but Fernando Barrero. You know, we haven't seen him in the last couple of member calls, so you know, I feared the worst. Yeah, and I knew that he lived in Flushing, New York. He was living with his mom at the time, and he was 57 years old. And I discovered the other day that he passed away in September, which is why, you know, and I didn't realize, as you had pointed out, the pictures of him, he was such a vibrant guy that cancer had really eaten him to the bone. Yeah. And the fact that he did come on the shows and was always his perky, fun self, you know,
always positive, always, you know, and always wanting to put that aside and just talk about the love that he had for, whether it was Andor or Marvel or whatever. He was just always a ray of positivity, even though we knew he was really suffering.
Yeah. You know, he's the second person that I've met via this channel and media, Mark C being the first. And I use a drawing he did of me, a black and white drawing at the front of every Robservations. And it's, you know, it's a function of social media that you get to know people that you wouldn't have otherwise known. I mean, different states, different countries. And you develop friendships with them. And when you see them over and over again, I mean, I see a lot of the people on this channel more than I see people I've known for my whole life.
Yeah.
And so I was really upset about Fernando passing away, actually. And I told Elizabeth that how upset I was. And only because, I mean, we never shared a drink together. We never were in the same room together, but he was somebody I got to know over the pandemic and would come to these things. And I thought it was, I don't have an extra glass, but I would like to. I have some wine here.
Yeah.
I would like to. Gonna drink out of the bottle.
Hey.
This is for you, Fernando. Fernando Barrios.
We wouldn't have it any other way, Rob. So, all right. Well, yeah. Just hope and thanks to everybody who's here joining us to play tribute and of course to do what I think Fernando would want us to do, which is to talk all things post-geek singularity. So we gather in his honor, both to mourn him, but also to celebrate him and his fandom with our fandom. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the switch over now, Robert. So if you don't mind pulling out a StreamYard, and then I'll bring you in through the Zoom call. We'll go ahead and do that. All right.
And now I'm back in the Zoom meeting.
And now you're back in the Zoom meeting. For some reason, my audio is coming through. I'm
going to ask you to unmute.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay. Can you hear me now, Rob?
I can hear you now. I don't know if I'm hearing your microphone, but I can hear you now.
Yeah. Something's going on with my audio. Let me see what I need to fix on my side. Give me a sec.
But you know, it's funny. I was looking for Fernando's mother's phone number so I could give her a call, but I wasn't able to find it. I didn't want to call the wrong woman, but I'm still looking. I'm still going to call her.
Let's see. My microphone is incorrect here. Yeah, all of my settings.
There you go. You're good now.
Are incorrect. Let me fix my speakers too. I just realized that my information here is all messed up, and of course, I'm doing this in my little side screen, so I can't quite see everything. There we go.
Oh, nice use of Ailea's theme, by the way, from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
You know that's what I have on my will that I want to be played when I pass away. That's what I want to be playing in my own funeral. So it's been a song that has always had a special place in my heart. So. So just thought it would be a nice tribute to Fernando as well. So, all right. So we are now in Zoom, I believe. We should all be, we're in Zoom right now. So I think it's time to let our members in. Should we go ahead and open up the floodgates?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Oh, and I just realized I don't think we are set up for viewing the floodgates, which is why they're coming in, but we can't see them. So let's go ahead and do the there we go. There's everybody.
Hello, everybody. Now we can see people.
Now we can see.
And I wanted Ed Martinez, who's a new member of the channel. I wanted to just make sure he spoke first.
Yep, we got him. So we'll go ahead.
Only because. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't see when Alon put his fingers up, he didn't get the whole.
Are we not getting the explosion? Maybe Alon doesn't have it set up like that.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I can do that too. Here, for my love of Israel. There you go. Yisrael. So there we go. Everyone's here.
Let me go ahead and put you back on center stage here, Rob. Give me a sec. I've got way too many things open in my. So let me go ahead and pin you. There we go. We are Rob now, and then we are going to bring Ed Martinez in first. And remember, guys, about 7 minutes that we have on time here for chat with Rob. Rob, is your schedule pretty loose today?
I know I'm good today.
You're good.
I'm pretty good today. You know, I was going to do a observations today and ranting about how the next generation of victims is going to destroy Western civilization. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but maybe I should.
Okay, now Ed has you want me to bring in Ed first? Ed hasn't raised his hand, so I don't know if he's
I don't know if he's Ed, if you're here.
He is here, but I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Ed.
You know what? Ed can't raise his hand, to be honest.
Okay.
He probably doesn't know that he needs to raise his hand.
There's the control there. So I'm going to go ahead and say...
There he goes.
Just add here. So, Ed, I am asking you to unmute now. Ed, you should be able to unmute and join us.
Okay. My wife is helping us, Rob.
Nina, what's up?
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
How are you, Rob?
I'm good. You know, things... Every day's a new adventure.
You've been so busy, my friend. My goodness.
Yes, I've been working on a big project that you just never know. Every day it changes.
I mean, the Chicago trip you took and all that stuff. I mean, I'm very excited about that new project, the audio.
It's going incredible. As a matter of fact, it's going better than I thought it was going to go.
Wow.
And it, hopefully we can keep it going to get to the finish line. Yeah. There's always something going on with that. It's hard when you're making independent projects. Obviously you need the money to make them.
Right.
But and that can sometimes prove to be difficult. But I have to tell you, the project itself is coming out incredibly well. So for those of you who don't know, back in August, we are doing I met Max Allen Collins, the writer who wrote Road to Perdition, and he took over. He took over doing the Dick Tracy newspaper comic strip from Chester Gould, who created Dick Tracy. And I became friends with him because he's an avid watcher, believe it or not, of Let's Get Physical Media.
Oh, cool.
And so met him through Mike Bodden, and we decided to turn his 19-volume detective series, the Nathan Heller series, of which the last book was published last month, Too Many Bullets. We're going to be doing an audio drama of his books, of the character Nathan Heller, the detective Nathan Heller. Nathan Heller is kind of like, I call him the Zelig of detectives, because if you've seen the Woody Allen movie Zelig, the books go from the early 30s to the late 60s, and you see his whole career. And the first story deals with the assassination of Chicago Mayor Cermak, and Todd Stashwick, who played Captain Liam Shaw in Picard season 3, is in fact playing Nathan Heller. And we recorded the first proof of concept, so it's about 13 minutes long, so you can kind of hear the beginning of what we're doing. And we're going to kickstart it as well, because we want to have perks like, I want to do vinyl, like a special edition boxed set of the whole thing on vinyl. We're doing Blu-rays. I mean, we didn't budget for any of that, so we'll see if it goes well, and we can do more of them. But we took Todd Stashwick to Chicago, and we filmed him on the streets of Chicago, reminiscing about his time at Second City. And we actually went to Second City with him, and went inside and went to the main stage of Second City and filmed him interacting with a class there. And I actually went and met Max at his home in Iowa, and we went and I did an interview with him talking about the character of Nathan Heller. And you're going to see a lot of that in the Kickstarter, and it's all going to be on the physical media versions of the audio drama. But then to prove concept I've been working on, I just got the entire original score, about 9 minutes of original music. You've heard the original piece of music that was originally, when I asked the composer to come up with something, it's playing over the Robservations opening now, excuse me. So it's A-list all the way. It's just a question of, like everything else, can we finance it and get to the finish line of at least this initial beginning? And then we're going to be doing an 8-hour, theoretically it's going to be 8 hours long. And the biggest expense is obviously hiring actors, because it's an entirely SAG production. So,
well, for me, being a blind man, this is right up my alley. It's like I've always loved, audiobooks, and I love detective stories, and it sounds like it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, it's turning out better than I expected, actually. I mean, that shouldn't surprise me, but I guess whenever I get other people involved that are really talented and they all get to contribute what they contribute, that's what delights me, to build something and to have everybody contribute. And, when I can hand pick people I know are really good at what they do and get them on board, and when they deliver, it's always great. It's always a great
producer.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, if you don't mind, is my YouTube channel.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to try and get more subscribers. Right now we have less than 500, and you can't even get monetized until you get 1,000.
Right.
And so I'm trying to do a drive towards that. And I wanted to know, did you have a chance to go look at my YouTube channel?
I watched the 2001, the thing that was up there that your wife sent me the link again for. Everybody should watch that.
Did you like it?
Yeah. I wanted to use something. I have an idea. I want to use it for something.
Oh, what's that?
I want to steal it. Well, I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. But anyways, I did the 8 Men, for that, the same thing that Stuart Freeborn did for the original.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. 2001 is having sort of a renaissance because of Barbie. Barbie, at the beginning of Barbie, there's a 2001 tribute.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And so that's what I wanted to do a bit about, the resonance of how 2001 A Space Odyssey is still relevant today.
Right. I love Danica's video. I mean, I listened to it, of course. I can't watch it, but it's a very cool video about 2001 as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to sort of combine all of these things. And you had the idea too about, I want Danica to see it and have her comment and come on and have her talk about 2001.
Yeah. What about your 1000th episode? Are you going to have people like her and, come on as guests and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm going to do a 1,000-minute show. And I've already started compiling because I can't be live I have to get up and eat and stuff like that. So
you got to go to the bathroom.
So I'll have to sleep too. But what I'm going to do for the 1,000-minute shows, like I did for other shows, is have these interviews pre-recorded that I can play.
Oh, that's cool.
So I can play the interviews that are pre-recorded over the course. Like one of the interviews that I've already got finished is the very first interview I ever did for this channel was with Star Trek novelist Diane Duane. And I thought that it was on a drive that died. And I realized that I had copied it over, and I found the copied over footage.
Oh.
So I'm going to put that. I mean, I love Diane Duane, and, it was the first Robservations thing I ever did, but no one's ever seen it.
Oh.
And so I have that, and that's like an hour long.
Cool.
I mean, it's 5 years old, but people are going to get to see that. And then I'm going to be interviewing, doing lots of pre-recorded interviews with people.
Have you seen the ones that I did on my YouTube channel?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff on tell people more about what's on your YouTube channel.
Well, I was a special effects artist for 30 years or more, and a teacher. I taught at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, special makeup effects and mask making and stuff like that. And I've always been, a collector like you. We park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay. And I, went blind about 10 years ago due to diabetes. But, I've not always been blind. And so I was involved with working on films and doing special effects and stuff like that. So I'm trying to keep my hand in it. And of course, my wife is sighted, and she's also an artist and a painter. And so, throughout our time together, we have been involved with the Clive Barker podcast. And I'm a big horror guy. I'm a big fan, and on my channel, you'll find interviews that I did recently for the new, Hellraiser. Hellraiser was on Hulu, in 2022, a new Hellraiser. And for those of you, listeners who didn't know that, I have 2 interviews on my channel, very long, good interviews with special behind the scenes photos and artwork and stuff. One is with the artist designer who created all the new Cenobites, and the other is with the FX, a couple of the Russell effects team, and they did all the other makeup effects, the sculpture, the molds, the casting, the application on set and everything. And for those of you who have seen it, hopefully you'll go check out my channel and subscribe and leave a comment or whatever, and check out these interviews. And I've got other stuff there too. I'm a big Ray Harryhausen fan, and we did a couple of tributes. Like Ray Harryhausen, of course, has passed away, but if he were still alive, he would be, I believe he's coming up on 103 years old. But when he was 100, we did a tribute with stop motion animation that's there on my channel. And then when he was 101, we did another little stop motion animation tribute. So I am a big stop motion guy, and I love stop motion animation. I love Ray Harryhausen. And I don't know how much more minutes I have left, but
no, we can give you a little bit more time.
Okay, but that's, I mean, the 2001 A Space Odyssey short film that we pointed you towards is a thing that was actually done in the year 2001, and that was a professional job for me. I was hired to do the makeup effects of the ape men in that, but the film itself was full of really high-end work. Like they had professional actors, SAG actors. They had the other people, cinematographer and set builders and everything were, top of the line. And, please, go check it out. It's called 2001. The future is not what it used to be. And it's kind of a spoof and a tribute at the same time. The production company that made it was called Moriarty and Ramirez. And they had done for years, prior to this 2001 one, each year at the Las Vegas Comdex Computer Conference, they would do a short film like this to help kick off the conference. And in the years past, they had done one that was like a spoof of The Matrix and, other popular films. I think they did one on Titanic or whatever, but the one that I did with them was this 2001 A Space Odyssey. And it was also happened to be in the year 2001. But what was really cool about it was we got a hold of, I don't know if I believe you did know who Scott Alexander was, Captain Cardboard, who
yeah,
beautiful resin model kits.
Oh yeah.
The 2001 things, and we had his Discovery, which is like 12 feet long. It was on display at the Tech Museum, San Jose Tech Museum, for a long time, and then when it was going to leave, we were able to borrow it for this film. So that's in the film. And then also a beautiful model of the space pod, which is also another Scott Alexander piece. And it was all, had lights in it and LEDs, and, it was beautiful. And, we had full-size sets, and, go check it out. It's something that's kind of a spoof, but it's also, we tried to be a tribute, tried to be accurate, as best we could under the budget restrictions and such.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. And I think what is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's just the Ed Martinez YouTube channel.
It's just Ed Martinez.
Yeah,
just Ed Martinez, so people can go. Just your name, no dashes or anything. Just Ed Martinez.
Right. And if you put in a search for the name of how the Cenobites were made by Ed and Nina Martinez, that's one of the videos that we have. It's over an hour long. I mean, it's full of photos, rare pictures. I mean, of course, I'm blind and I can't even see the film or see the photos, but my wife, who is sighted, she did all the editing, and we tried to make it, visually interesting. Of course, as an old special effects guy, I love all film and cinema and video, and I've worked on many things, music videos and animation, and so we try and give something that would be worthy of your time, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great to have that there. So everybody who's listening to this or watching now, go to the Ed Martinez YouTube channel and subscribe and like and watch the content that's there, because there's a lot of good stuff.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. And hopefully this time around you'll have the recording of this YouTube show. We'll make sure to include you in the stream this time so that you can find it later and watch it and clip it, do whatever you like with it. So, and coming up next, our good friend Alon the Abadi is here. Alon, you should be able to unmute now, my friend.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you, sir?
Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat is over for you.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, well, Shabbat is over, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday is not.
No. No, but the sun's gone down.
Yes, it has. There's not much really I wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to show my presence and maybe recommend you guys with something that's been helping me power through the whole situation here, which is surprisingly Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Deck, which has been short, funny, something I can focus on.
Absolutely.
I have no idea, whether or not, you appreciate it or not. You're much more of a
no. I mean, Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's gotten a lot better as it's gone along.
Really, I'm in the beginning, and I'm loving it. So I'm glad to hear that.
It gets better as it goes, and they've done a lot of interesting. And I think it is very funny, but my only objection to the show is that it's a spoof. It's a Star Trek spoof made for people that watch Star Trek. Mm-hmm. So, and they do try and turn it into. They try and tell stories that are kind of standalone Star Trek stories, but it still remains a spoof. And I would like to have seen more of a spoof that didn't rely so much on previous Star Trek. That it could have been funny, but at the same time pushing Star Trek more forward as opposed to referencing so much old Star Trek. But other than that, it's still really funny.
I mean, that's very, very interesting because I'm not a Trekkie myself. I think I've told you before. I tried getting into Star Trek. There's so much there's so much work that I need to do in order to get it.
Yeah.
Get there. And I don't think I don't think I ever will. Even though like I'm the occasional Star Trek like watcher. I'll be fine. I'm okay with it. And I really like this show because I didn't feel like I was stuck with like this whole thing of like
well, that's good.
You need to see this, you need to watch this and that. I can simply like turn it on, watch it. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I turn it on. It's over on my PlayStation. I just hit the next episode, and I'm laughing like 2 minutes in.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's the best way to be.
Yeah, totally. So that's like a strong recommendation. Other than that, and Invincible, which is great as well.
Oh, have you watched season 2?
Yeah, but I'm only 2 episodes in. I haven't watched the third one yet. But it's doing great as always. I mean, I barely remember the first season, so but I'm hanging in, and I'm loving it so far.
That's great. That's I have to say I discovered something that I don't know how I missed this, but I stumbled across a new animated series. And why am I now drawing a blank? But it's a new animated series. What's it called? Why am I Paradigm? It's called Paradigm, and it was on AMC, and it got canceled, and then Amazon picked it up for a second season, which I haven't seen. I just started watching the first season, but I highly recommend Paradigm to anybody. It's animated, but it's hardcore sci-fi, cyberpunk stuff. It's really interesting. So I'll
try it out and check it out, and if I may even shout out which I heard as of lately. I think that like they're pitching it to other, like what about obviously canceled it, the Acts of Zaslav and stuff.
Oh yeah. By the way, the show's called Pantheon. Just so I don't mean to interrupt you. Pantheon is the name of the show.
And the Acts of Zaslav is cut it, but maybe like but now I think that like they're pitching it to other studios and to other like streaming services, and I think that Amazon Prime has shown interest, so I hope that this pulls through.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see it. I mean, it's crazy to me that situation exists. I mean, I don't understand it at all.
It's very awkward.
It's so weird.
It's very, very weird. It's very awkward in my I've never seen anything like this. I mean, except for like the Batgirl, obviously, but they're really like it feels to me like we're like in Newgrounds with Zaslav. Zaslav.
I just don't understand when you're $50 billion in debt and you've made a movie that's finished, that's testing well, that people seem to enjoy, that's getting test scores in the 90s, and that you would cancel something like that for whatever reason for a $30 million write-off. I mean, it seems so strange to me that that movie, especially in this day and age, put it out with a decent ad campaign. I mean, the whole idea behind it, I think, is a winner, and I think people would go see it. So I don't understand.
I'll just say, and I know it's kind of controversial, but I'm obviously a James Gunn fan. I love mostly everything that he does, but not everyone is like me, and I've seen lots of people who doesn't like understand his humor and that does not like appreciate the way he writes and stuff like that, and maybe they are worried about something like that. But I say fuck it. I want this movie. I want this movie so much, and I really hope they get to like showcase it and publish it, because like art is not meant to be kept in the dark, in my opinion. That's it. Have a great one.
All right, well, take care, stay safe, man, and all that, and I will continue to fight the good fight on Twitter or X.
Hey, Rob, FYI, Pantheon is on Prime, on Amazon Prime, and a second season is currently airing in Australia. So it looks like there might be a second season coming. Yeah,
there's a second. I don't know why it's only airing in Australia.
Yeah, maybe there's probably a rights issue or something like that, distribution stuff. And by the way, Rob, speaking of animated series, Scavenger's Reign, highly recommend that people check that out. The whole thing
I gotta see that too.
The whole thing is out now, so you can binge watch the whole thing. And another animated series that just dropped on Netflix called Blue-Eyed Samurai. Yeah, people are telling me that's incredible. Incredible. Highly recommend it. Make sure you check that one out. So, So, all right, we are going to bring in next Julian Mushkin, who's been doing an awesome job with RM on his reviews of For All Mankind. Welcome, Julian.
Hey. Good to see you.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Pretty good. It's good to see you, Rob.
I'm liking your reviews. I should be doing. I was gonna do an after show with Bill Hunt, but we haven't done that. He's seen the first 7 episodes of For All Mankind.
Oh man.
And all I can say is hashtag free Margot.
Yeah.
It's what I love about this. I love the show so much. I mean, I love how now they don't ever forget to show you that space is incredibly dangerous. Yeah. And I love that it's taking a whole different tact this time. And it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, I looked up I'm always going back and looking up real history. It's going to be, and Bill has mentioned this, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this Russian coup story.
I did the same thing, and last night, right before the show, I was like, when did that thing happen with Gorbachev? So I was like, oh, this could be it. And yet, like I mentioned last night, I'm surprised that they've thrown it in there, considering how good the economy supposedly is in the Soviet Union.
You've got the old hardliners that, capitalism is bad. We want them,
So maybe that makes it even worse. So I am very interested in that. Regarding Margot, I brought it up in our rewatch a couple of weeks ago. I'm wondering if the Soviet Union was somewhat involved in the bombing of Johnson Space Center as a cover.
To get her out, you mean?
Yes, to get her out, because we are led, as the viewer, we're led to believe that she's dead until we see her alive. So, something, it's like, it wouldn't be beyond the pale to believe that they supplied certain materials to that dude who was planning on the bombing.
Yeah, though, I don't know if they'll, because inherently the show is optimistic.
Well,
I mean, it could be that they did, but I don't know if they would do that as necessarily a cover, but then not use her.
Yeah, there is that, but we're seeing that there's, you know, strange things happening with the regime.
Right.
There's obviously people who are not happy with her being there, and there was other people who probably said, look, we owe her because we wouldn't be where we are without her assistance.
Right.
So, you know, they must have won out, but the Soviet Union, you know, Roscosmos, they gain if JSC, you know, supposedly, you know, if they blow, you know, up NASA, perhaps there's, you know, they viewed that as perhaps a way for them to get a leg up.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. I honestly don't know, and Bill hasn't told me where things are going. You know, and I do think, like, you know, the class struggle and all that might be. I mean, this show wears its heart on its sleeve, so it's not like it's not subtle. You know, I wouldn't call it a subtle show, but I do think it has an inherent positivity to it. But we'll see. I mean, I'm loving where this show is going this season. I like the new character, and I do like the fact that, you know, it seems they've taken a page from, like, The Expanse, like the grease monkeys that are working on Mars. But and that's a little, I think that's a little too on the nose, in the sense that anybody who's going to make their way to Mars, they would have to treat everybody there the same. I mean, I understand the class struggle is something they wanted to lean into, which is fine.
I am surprised that I'm not surprised in the fact that businesses would try and, you know, the capitalist society, the big businesses would try and take advantage of the situation as most they can. I mean, that's how that's how Helios is going to make their profit, right? But
sure.
The fact that they're not seeing it in the fact that, like you said, space is trying to kill you, and they're out at the ass end of, you know, human habitation on Mars, and they all need to be working together. And the fact that Ed has just become this company man who's just not even questioning, you know, what's going on, because that's always been the way he's been. He's like, I, you know, work for NASA. I was the astronaut. I'm the astronaut. I'm the guy. I'm the dude that's here, and everybody else is working for me to do what I need to do. And he doesn't see that issue going on.
Well, I think he's also he's going to have a come to Jesus moment, a reckoning.
Oh yeah,
he's a broken man, you know, and he's now got to live with the guilt that he let his friend go outside when he was ordered not to.
Yeah.
And what I love about this show is they'll deal with all of that, you know. And what happened? I want to know what happened to Danny on Mars.
Yeah. I think he's still alive. I think he's going to show up. he's either going to end up saving the day, or he's going to throw a wrench in it again.
What's really interesting is that Bill, they only gave the first 7 episodes. One thing that For All Mankind does really well is its final episodes are always great. At least we have 3 seasons of great episodes.
Yeah. No, I think they're off to a really good start.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. Hey, we got our badges for Comic-Con.
Nice.
Yeah, we ended up getting every day except Saturday when they opened up the early, and then this morning we were just able to get Saturday. So.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
so that's great.
Looking forward to hanging out.
I will see you there.
And RM she's got hers too, so the plan is for her to come out. So should be cool.
That'll be great.
PGS get together.
Yeah, we will for sure. Well, we've got a lot to celebrate. Hopefully, we'll try and get a panel about the audio drama, which should be great, and do other conversations and do other things, which will be terrific. So I'm excited about that.
That would be great.
Yeah. All good.
All right. Well, that's all. That's all I wanted. You know, I was going to bring up that conspiracy theory question.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. Then now I didn't ponder that, but now, you know, I just want to. By the way, that the makeup on Ren Schmidt, that makeup on Margot is I mean, the Ed makeup's, you know, because the beard,
it's not that good. Yeah.
It's not that good, but the Ren Schmidt makeup is really, really incredible.
Yeah. She is aging really well.
Yeah, and I really like how they've brought brought I got to tell you, I got a little choked up with the hi Bob moment.
Yeah.
When they said hi Bob to each other.
Yeah, I was waiting. You were waiting for it. It was like, who's going to be first?
Yeah, it totally was. Yeah.
Julian, keep up the good work, man. Thank you so much for all your contribution as always. Enjoying the recaps. So have a good one. All right. We have a couple of super chats, Rob, so I always forget to do these on time. So
oh, yeah.
We've got Julius Goodwin with a $50 super chat. My goodness.
Oh, Julius is the official sommelier of this channel.
Wow, that's a very generous contribution. Thank you so much, Julius.
Thank you, Julius. And he keeps sending us Knocking Point wine, which always is enjoyable.
Hey, we won't say no to that. That's another way in which Julius is contributing, right? Not just with the super chat.
I just realized I should have brought. We have some, and I should have got that bottle.
Yeah.
Now that I'm drinking wine, I don't usually drink anymore, but now I have to finish this entire bottle.
Now you have to finish this one.
Now I have a mason jar full of
wine. Julia says, good afternoon. Just wanted to say hello. I hope things have been going well for you. Anything new this year? Well,
we're finishing up White Devils. Mm-hmm. I've been editing. It's very interesting. I'm not in the movie, but my body doubled for a character who gets flogged to death, and it's been very interesting cutting in, because the flogging. I had my whole back. There's prosthetics on my back getting flogged, and I just kept saying, more blood, more blood, more blood. It's just, and I'm cutting it in. I'm like, ooh, that's it's let's just call it juicy.
Yeah.
So that White Devils is getting done. The audio drama, the whole audio drama project is moving forward, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
You guys will hear the proof of concept. I got the full score. I'm directing some Walla on Tuesday, but we're probably going to launch our Kickstarter for it in mid-December, because there's a lot of things I want to do. Like, we it's not in the budget to make special edition vinyl of the entire thing, and I don't even know if somebody would buy special edition vinyl of an 8-hour audio drama.
How many LP records would that take?
8, probably half an hour side, and it's, I'm learning a lot of things. Like, for instance, the way you can't just take a digital file and put it on vinyl. You have to actually remix it for vinyl, because like there's gunshots, and the gunshot, if you just transposed it over to the vinyl, and the gunshot would cause the needle to literally jump off the record.
Oh, wow.
So you have to, and I'm learning all about, which is, I never thought I would ever learn about making vinyl.
Yeah.
And finding people to remaster it. And so we're doing that, and that's really cool. And then, we'll have a Blu-ray part, because the it'll be mixed in 5.1. I found out mixing it in Dolby Atmos is going to be a lot more expensive, so that would be like a stretch goal. And if people don't want that, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Sure.
If people, I have no idea, but it's going to be the reason, the more money that we would get on this, because it's 8 hours. And the funny thing about this is I didn't even know what the budget would be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much would a budget be? Like, if you asked me to budget $1 million movie, I know how to do that, but I don't know how to make somebody. I said, this is actually very interesting. We're literally building an audio backlot, in the sense that each location is designed, has to have its own audio design that could be like, 25 layers of audio deep. So like when you're in a train station, for instance, think about standing on an exterior train platform. What is everything that you hear?
Right.
It all has to be created. The trains themselves, their steam engines, and the
chatter of people walking around,
footfalls. And when it's raining, what do footfalls sound like on a train platform in the rain?
Right.
So we're building all of that. And then once those environments are built, we'll have them to use over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this 12 minutes, we're in a train platform, we're inside a cab, and then we're in an apartment building.
Okay.
And it's all very, very interesting.
Interesting.
And so all of that has to be when you're making a movie, you can see things. You've got the visuals, and the visuals for your mind do half the work for you.
Yeah.
So then you expect the sound to go with the picture, but when you have no picture and you're creating an environment, how deep do you want to go? And I want to make it sound like it has picture. Like I've said, okay, this is a movie, but with no picture. So that means the sound, like, even though we didn't go outside and record sound, we have to make it sound like it is outside.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? And it's been really interesting.
It's like an immersive sound experience, not just background noise, but really immersing you into the scene.
Really immersive. And then we have the added, our jazz, the score is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alex Bornstein, the composer, you can hear it over Robservations now. I asked him can you make a theme? And he made that theme, but then that's not the score. That was the motif and all that. But his score with his action cues and stuff, and he had real players come in and play on play the trumpet and play the saxophone. So it's not just digitized versions, and you can tell, and it's really exciting. And I'm loving what's happening. And then of course we went to Illinois and Chicago and did that stuff. And then we're going to start doing things like the short story competitions. Finally, I'm going to put that back. And I mean, I want to concentrate on just making things in 2024, and seeing what we can do, what we can make, whether it's crowdfunded or whether I can find the budget to actually go make things. I just want to make things and promote things that other people make.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tired of the tearing down of everything. Everybody wanting to get, that's why I said I wanted to do a rant about the victim culture and the destruction of Western civilization, and get back to the core tenets of what I want, is that let's go build things.
Yeah.
Let's make things. Let's progress.
Yeah.
Bill
Barkley has a quick question here. He just wants to know if you have watched the new Doctor Who Children in Need minisode, which is on YouTube.
I haven't seen that. I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah.
That's cool. Children in Need.
Children in Need minisode. We'll have to check it out. And then Marco with a £2 super chat. Rest in peace, Fernando. Meanwhile, WTF with the Sentry Casting. Are we aware of what they mean? What he means by Sentry? Like a
Sentry,
character?
the Marvel character of Sentry.
Has there been some rumors on that? If there have been, I haven't heard them.
I haven't either.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
Maybe there's something about it. It says
casting.
WTF with the Sentry Casting.
Oh yeah, okay. In a recent interview with comic book artist David Finch, The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman let fly that Stephen Ewan is set to play the role of Sentry in the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe film, The Thunderbolts.
Huh. Is Sentry a Superman analog?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind that casting.
Yeah.
I don't. I like Stephen Ewan. He's an incredible actor.
He's already invincible, so
right.
It's kind of the same.
I mean, I think to me, I mean, the Sentry, like Superman, like I've never had a problem with the idea of Superman being played by, I mean, obviously Truth, Justice, the American Way, but if somebody wanted to tell me that Superman was black or Asian or something, you could do it because a Kryptonian isn't from Earth.
Right.
It would how do you then you'd have to change, like the problem is if you take a character like Superman that's established and you swap their ethnicity, then you have to then swap so like you can't, so Ma and Pa can't have to be then different, or are they going to be if they're Ma and Pa Kent and they're still like say white folk, and they're going to raise a black kid or an Asian kid in the middle of Smallville,
right?
If you're going to do that, then you have to lean into, I think, others. You can't just pretend, because you've already changed the ethnicity, so there's got to be a reason. The ethnicity then has to be dealt with, and I think that's the problem. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but you then have to, then what are you going to do? Are you going to change everything? But a character like Sentry, I don't think has that kind of baggage.
Right. Right.
And I've always loved. I mean, there's Sentry's done some really cool, like rip dudes in half.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
he's very much like the Omni-Man type of character.
Right. Yes. Yes. And not, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind that. I don't only because I'm a huge Stephen Ewan fan.
Yeah. And Bill Barkley is just correcting here, saying that the name of the Children in Need episode is Destination Scarrow. So
that goes back into the past.
Yeah, I know they're pulling way back from some past obscure stuff for the new season. So yeah. All right. Waiting patiently is the great Tom Jr. Jackson. We are bringing him in now. Tom, you should be able to unmute.
It's a large glass of wine. Tom, we can't hear you. Oh, now we can hear you.
Hello.
How's it going, dude?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
I'm waiting for that Columbo Blu-ray set, dude. Come on, what's up? You are too. But I'm not going to part with my VHSs that you got me. I mean, my DVDs.
DVDs?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice DVD set.
It's a great DVD set.
I was watching some of my Twilight Zone Blu-rays the other night.
There's that Twilight Zone Blu-ray set it's insane. The remastering of those episodes. It's like watching totally different episodes because on TV you could never get the blacks the way they were supposed to be, and because the blacks and the grayscales on a black and white show are vital, and because we had terrible TV, you could the photography on the original Twilight Zone, all that chiaroscuro, it's so good. They look so good. So
yeah, and special features are great.
Oh, there's a ton of special features on those things. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah,
I got Oppenheimer coming Tuesday and Alon 17.
Yeah, I Solid 17 I already got because they sent it to me. It looks great. I love that movie too.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I like those kind of movies that go back to that time, because they don't make those movies like that anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm doing okay. I mean, we're about a month away practically from my birthday.
Ooh. And how old are you going to be? Can you say, or do you know?
Yeah, I can say the big 49.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
1 year away from your half century mark.
Yeah. Not bad.
That's good. It's always good to, hopefully the years will get 2024 has got to be better than 2023, right?
Yeah. But I watched this morning. I watched the Last Starfighter. I took out my Arrow Blu-ray and I put that in. That is I love that movie.
It's great.
It is such a great movie, and I really wish they would do a sequel to that.
They should do a sequel set in the same universe. Like, it's that movie came out in 1984, so next year would be its 40th anniversary, and it's 40 years later. And now with gaming that really interesting. I don't know, the three body problem, the TV, there is a video game aspect to the three body problem that made me think of, when I read the first book in the first place, it made me think of Last Starfighter, because Shizhen Liu, however you pronounce his name, he had to have been inspired by the Last Starfighter when he wrote the three body problem. I don't know if you ever saw the movie, but that you could totally do that today.
Because I know, because I was stuff on the Last Starfighter, and the idea came from the King Arthur legend,
right?
Where
the Sword and the Stone.
The sword, Yeah, instead of the sword and the stone, it would be the video game that would be it all. I'm like sitting there, I'm looking at that, I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that. And it's I really enjoy that movie. I just felt like watching it. But then again, I started rewatching The West Wing, and then last night I started rewatching Newsroom. And I love Newsroom. Newsroom is such a great show. And that first episode of Newsroom with the why America is not the great country.
Yep.
That whole speech.
Yep.
It just sucks you right in.
It's really great, especially today.
Yeah. And I like The West Wing as well. I think that show has held up pretty well for it being almost 20 years old, something like that.
Oh no, I love The West Wing. I think The West Wing is great. A lot of people don't like it.
It's great writing.
But I love The West Wing. The West Wing to me is like Star Trek in the White House. That's kind of how I always thought about it. So I really liked it, and I really like what they did.
I love the episode where the president decides.
We're getting a little on your microphone. It's getting a little. It's staticky. Your microphone's breaking up.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, I don't know. But
Go ahead.
No, I think we lost. You keep cutting out. It's funny. Vicky says Two Cathedrals is one of the best television episodes. Two Cathedrals is one of my favorite TV episodes. When that's when Mrs. Landingham dies. And he goes into the church and he sends everybody out and curses God in Latin, and smokes a cigarette in the church and then puts it out on the floor. It's so great. I don't know if I've told the story about how I was actually in Hawaii in 2007, and I was with Brian Singer took a bunch of us to Hawaii, and we were hanging out on the beach, and I had just watched the first 4. My girlfriend at the time, Mary Forrest, gave me a box set of The West Wing on DVD, the full 9 seasons, and I binge watched the first 4 seasons, and I literally look over on the beach, and I swear to God, about 20-25 feet away from me is Aaron Sorkin walking on the beach with his wife and his daughter, his ex-wife. And I'm like, oh my God. I turned to Brian, who's also a big West Wing fan. I go, that's Aaron Sorkin. I'm going to go talk to him. And I jumped up and I walked over to him and I said, excuse me, sir, you're Aaron Sorkin, are you not? And I explained, I said, hey, I'm sitting over here with Brian Singer and a bunch of us, and we're huge West Wing. And he came over and he hung out. And I told him, I literally walked up to him and I said, dude, I just finished Two Cathedrals, one of the great episodes of TV ever. And he laughed, and he knew that, the fact that I was quoting titles of West Wing episodes, but it made him come over and he hung out with us. So yeah, it's great. I still love West Wing.
Thanks for joining us, Tom. Good to see you as always. And thanks for being the moderator extraordinaire.
Yes, sir.
We've got Ish, who I believe is our cookie extraordinaire, coming up next.
Yes, he is our cookie. What is okay? So we got a cheesemonger.
We got a wine person.
We got
a sommelier.
Sommelier. And Ish, what is the name of there's got to be a name for somebody who's an expert cookie maker. What would that name be?
Ish.
Ish, that's it.
Ish it is. Ish is the official Ish of this channel. I'm anointing you the official Ish of this channel. What does that mean? It means you make the best cookies. I mean, seriously, if you could equate those are the cocaine of cookies. Those cookies. You can't. I mean, what's really so Ish makes they're sugar cookies. They're right.
The ones that I brought you the last time. Yeah, they were sugar cookies.
Okay, these sugar cookies. If you make the mistake of leaving them someplace without protecting them, and other people get into them, they're gone. Like I made that mistake once. There was They're gone. I mean, and literally when you take, I mean, these are literally, I don't mean to oversell them. I mean, I've had good, Mrs. Fields cookies are good, but these cookies are arguably some of the very best cookies I've ever had. And I love cookies. I'm a cookie guy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I was watching the other day, I was watching the episode of Midnight Musings where Lil was going off about the cheeks. And so towards the end, you guys were trying to get him to boost up his numbers on his channel.
Right.
But see, I didn't get to watch it live, so I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, I wonder if it's never occurred to Rob that maybe the people that are in the chat were already members of his channel.
Right. No, it's
like,
true.
And I'm thinking like, well, there's only like 300 and something that was in there. We're probably already members.
Yeah, no, and we got it close. He did cross over.
Yeah,
that
I had to go, and I didn't end up finish watching. I was going to go back today and finish watching the episode.
That was so funny. I mean, I love Lael. He's so funny.
Yeah, when he went off on that, I was just like, oh my God, I go, he's going off right now. I go, this is so cool.
It was so funny. That was so funny.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I just never.
You guys was awesome.
Yeah, I never know what we're going to talk about. Lael was kind of sick last night, so tonight we will be doing a show, Musings tonight. But those shows have been so fun. The three of us, you just never know. I mean, there's always a sexual component somewhere on the show, which I think is great.
That's why I like it, because it's everybody, a lot of people are scared to go that route, and they tiptoe around it. But it's like, yeah, come on, we're adults.
Yeah, let's get to the.
Let's have an interesting conversation once. Let's, our generation, it wasn't afraid of it. I don't know what's wrong with this generation, why they're not doing it today.
Well, I think it's, it's. I have to say though, when you have all the vulgarity of it all, the all that it is now is, here's the thing. The one thing, like you watch pornography at the click of a button, but you know what? Pornography doesn't have in it. It doesn't have the joy of kissing somebody for the first time.
Yeah, sure. It does.
It doesn't have any of the eroticism of what it's like to first.
Especially the porn today, because like even back when I had to go to my uncle's room and dig it up out of his closet, it had a storyline to it.
Oh yeah,
and they were almost like movie. Now it's just fucking. That's it.
Right. There's nothing, and people don't want to take the time to even. It's funny. There's a movie that I really enjoy called Barbara Broadcast. It's a porn film that was directed by Radley Metzger, who later became Henry Paris. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about this movie is it's very surreal. Like they go to this high-end these people go to this high-end restaurant where sex is literally on the menu, and it's really kind of weird and bizarre and very 70s, and nobody does anything like that. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I first got a VCR. There was a porn film called Cafe Flesh. And Cafe Flesh was set in a post-apocalyptic world where radiation has made it so nobody can touch each other. So if everyone became like Rogue of the X-Men. If you touch somebody, you have a horrible reaction.
Yeah.
So the only people that were left that can touch each other become sex performers in these cafes for everybody else that goes to the cafe because they can't touch one another. I'm like, what happened to all that?
Yeah,
it's all gone.
The creativity is just gone. It's just straight, hey, let me see. Oh, bend over. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it just kind of.
Well, also you get performance anxiety. Like people who look like normal people, all the guys are these sculpted dudes with 12-inch, schlongs, and all the women are beautiful with silicone enhanced breasts. And I mean, you look at this and I'm like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also I was listening to John the other day, and he was talking about what he didn't like about the ending of Loki. And some, I never thought of as Loki is getting more powerful, because it's like, I didn't like that. There's nothing in the thing that says that, anything about Loki getting the power, that much power. And I was like, well, they never stated that he did. I go, what if it's not power that he gained? What if it's the will just to do something? And because he has friends now, it's just a willingness to not see those friends, you know, be obliterated, just be demolished, and just, you know, wiped out. So it's just his will is holding him in that position to do that.
By the way,
so much his power.
I have to point out that Michaelito says that we have to go back and watch the first episode of Jessica Jones. When Jessica Jones hooks up with Mike Coulter, who's my man, I have a man crush on Mike Coulter and John Barrowman. Mike Coulter is one beautiful hunka burning love, that guy, and has an awesome sex scene with Jessica Jones. I mean, he could throw her around. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but Jessica Jones herself, to me, is not that anything I want to see doing that.
Well, there is that I'll take it though, you know, but I that was really, they didn't back off on that. You wouldn't see that in an MCU show today, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, Rob, you know, I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta go help my aunt. But I just want to say hi to everybody and just, you know, my condolences. I seen the, you know, Fernando's.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. You're now the official ish of this channel.
All right, guys.
We have a new word for the cookie maestro. It's an ish. What is an ish? Somebody who is adept at making great cookies.
Yeah. All right, guys. Later on PGS.
See you later, man. Thanks for being here.
Rob, we're having some technical difficulties streaming to YouTube. It looks like we're frozen over there. I'm trying to fix it on my end. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and continue bringing people into chat with you. So
sometimes it does that. They just want to choke me out.
It's like it just hung up or something. I'm going to see if I can get it fixed by up.
You know what? You know what you can do where you click on, you know, the little green thing that you have to click on to connect, the little you can click it off and then click it back on and see if it'll come back.
Yeah, my issue is that I can't even, like, my tabs on Chrome are all frozen, so I can't even move into YouTube to see what's going on.
You know, if you're on Chrome, you can relink. Just turn off and relink it.
Okay, so let me go ahead and what do I got to do here? Lower hand, and then let me bring in the end pod. So you can start chatting with him. And Pod, you should be able to unmute now. I'll bring you in and I'll work on trying to get the stream fixed.
Mikey, you're the best, man.
Hello, Robert.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine and dandy. Thank you very much.
How are things in your neck of the woods?
Well, I've had quite a traumatic couple of weeks, but I won't go into the details. I've had a couple of things that happened, but you just have to keep on punching. That's the way.
That's because the alternative is not good.
Well, you say that. I mean, I did go back to my mother's for if it's all right with you, I'd like to talk about the podcast for a minute, as I like to do.
You can say whatever you want.
Excellent news. So last week we did the Marvels and a neon thriller, which had Jessica Henwick and Julie Garner.
Yeah, Jessica Henwick is my new celebrity crush. I mean, I could be your grandfather, but still. Oh,
tell me about it. Her and Jessica Chan. Not Jessica, Gemma Chan.
Gemma Chan. You and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay, my friend.
If only that were possible.
Well, is that a euphemism?
I was going to say, I've seen.
I know you want to park your shuttlecraft. I see what you're saying.
It icked me out a little bit.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, I'll just be a proxy for Lyle then in that case. Yeah. But yeah, the whole Marvels thing's it's just a bit strange, isn't it? Because it's not a great film, but I've never seen, I know that MCU and the whole sort of MCU sort of debate is what it is, but I've never seen so much vitriol for such a bang average film.
Yeah, well,
I don't get it in this instance at all.
I think for me, I was gonna do observations on it, but I'm like, you know what? I don't like. I love the MCU, and I'm just perplexed by where they've taken it.
Yeah.
And I understand, but what I don't get. But here's what I don't understand: you have $1 billion movie in Captain Marvel, and obviously the fan community maybe are not the biggest fans of Brie Larson, but everybody is only one movie away from changing the opinion and changing the fortunes. What I wanted from Captain Marvel needed an Empire Strikes Back. Captain Marvel needed an epic, cosmic, sci-fi story. And now instead of making it a buddy girl comedy movie with a girl boss evil villain, it just seemed like I get where they're going with that, and I think Iman Vellani is a great actress, and I love Monica Rambeau as a character, and I love who they cast. Because to me,
flat though, it was so flat, and I know the chemistry has been said that it's one of the highlights, and I wouldn't disagree with that, but it's not
the story. The story. Here's what I've said this before: the storyline is inconsequential,
crap.
And why doesn't, if you want to know what story to tell, always go back to Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1 has a main character who he's one way, or they or he, she, whatever. They're one way. They have a crisis of conscience, and the story has to be personal to them. And if you're going to make a Captain Marvel 2, make a Captain Marvel 2. This could have been the third Captain There
It should have been. There was a whole film missing in the middle. The whole thing where she goes ham at the beginning, like the brief flashback. I want to see the film where she loses control. And then why did they use that for Miss Marvel? That it's kind of like there was this unfinished narrative that Miss Marvel has to accept that you can't save everyone, but then 20 seconds later they've forgotten about it, and then it's kind of like beware of false idols sort of thing, where she's idolized Captain Marvel, then all of a sudden she realizes what she's done and that she's left it. The whole thing, like there were so many missed opportunities. It just
incredibly frustrating. And what's interesting too is they could have made a film during the 5 years of the snap when Captain Marvel is trying to keep the cosmos together. Thanos has destroyed Xandar. They're all the galaxy's in a state of disarray, and she's the only person that can hold things together, and it took its toll. And you could have had a movie like that. And she has whatever, something personal, a crisis of conscience, what have you. And we didn't get anything like that. The movie has no gravitas, and we got this. It was very, very disappointing. And I think that they could have turned Captain Marvel into a really great, it could have been a really cool story. And I don't like to review things based on what I think they should have been as opposed to what they are. The choice that they made to tell this story is perplexing to me, because when you have a $1 billion grossing movie, you don't bring in characters from a TV show that the people that didn't watch. You don't do that.
You don't do that. And also, Rob, expectations are fine because the MCU has given us expectations. And I mean, of course, I'm a confident Englishman in telling you about how films work, but it's that expectation that is the art of filmmaking, because that's how you undermine it. You let people think it's going one way, and then when it goes another, that's where you get your pinch points of emotion and an emotive storytelling. Without that expectation, and the MCU has done it, and with in mind the expectation as well, how many loose threads can we now have in this post Endgame. We've had Harry Styles, we've had Hercules, the bloke from Ted Lasso. We've had Beast at the end of this. We've had what's the lady called at the end of
the Black Knight at the end of Eternals?
Nowhere. It's gone nowhere. And by the way, we've still got
I'm right there with the Victor, just so you know.
Sticking out the fucking ocean. We've had one appearing from space. We've got now the Greek gods. We've got the Norse gods. We've got the Egyptian gods. We've got, and it's kind of, how are you fitting all this together? Like, and I thought all of that was building up Moon Knight, very final episode, post-credit scene. Gore the God Butcher comes in, boom, everyone's gone, and that is the expectation that we've had from phases 1, 2, and 3. And now there's just, it's not even throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's just throwing it all up in the air. I honestly, it's gone from the benchmark of how to create a cinematic universe to basically how to completely undermine it. This is like the Monsterverse. It's probably now less successfully managed than what the Snyderverse was. And as you say, I went into this wanting to love it. And I go into each and every one, because we weren't going to even review it on the podcast because I wasn't that interested. We'd had sort of failure after failure, but there was something else that didn't quite work out. We're reading the Grant Morrison Batman stuff for the James Gunn, the comics beyond the James Gunn DCU. And none of us had enough time. So we went, all right, well, Captain Marvel's out this weekend. Let's just do that. It's an easy one. And I can't believe there was a world where there's a podcast reviewing or talking about the next MCU film is a stopgap, a fill-in. It's scandalous how far it's fallen.
No, it really is. And I have to tell people, and I've said that I honestly have no interest. To me, Deadpool 3 is a great place to be because that's not even a MCU movie. That's a Fox X-Men movie, and it's a remnant of a past time. And I'll bet you that it's really interesting that No Way Home, which is a Sony movie, people forget that even though it's part of the MCU, No Way Home is still a Sony movie. And now that Deadpool 3 is a Fox film, it is MCU, and they'll bring these characters into the MCU. I have no interest. I loved the first 23 movies of the Infinity Saga. Even the ones that weren't so good, I still enjoyed them. And you go back and you watch them now, and they fit into the bigger parts of the original. I've watched Shang-Chi and Eternals again, but and No Way Home I've watched, but that's, again, I don't care about anything else. I don't even care about the MCU. I don't care about the fact that we're getting a Wolverine and Deadpool film, I'll watch that. That's the only thing coming out in 2024 theatrically from Marvel, which is they've acquired from Fox. If I were them, they should just reboot with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and leave all of this behind and completely start over. I mean, they won't do that, but because, they're reshooting Captain America Brave New World and whatever they're doing there. Because they don't know. There's no direction. The MCU is a moribund brand right now. And Deadpool and Wolverine is not going to, or Deadpool threesome, as I like to think of it in my mind. I think it's going to be great, but like Spider-Man No Way Home, it's a one-off. I can't believe I've never seen a brand fall so far, and it's amazing to me. And if they've lost me, and I'm an easy lay for that, it's just not good.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those.
Hey, wait, Roberto, can you put the high end? Can you put Matt on once again so he can give a shout out to his podcast?
I will. Let me go ahead and ask him to unmute. Matt, you should be able to unmute once again. So if you want to do a shout out.
Yeah, I'm back. Thank you very much, Rob. Yes, so we are on all your favorite listening locations, and you will find us if you search for Spank Media and then End Pod. And if you want to look at YouTube, where we chop up the podcast and do it in all the small individual sections of the podcast than it is the end one shots. And yeah, they're more manageable. You can dip your toe in the water, see what we're about. We do the reviews and all that kind of thing. So thank you very much for letting me do that, Rob. Much appreciated.
No worries, man.
Great to see you, Matt, and good continued success with the show. All right. Quick super chat here. Hold on. I keep hitting the wrong thing here. Why do I do this? Whenever I go through the where is NPOD? There he is. Let me go ahead and remove him. But we got another super chat here quickly. We have a $20 from Ron C, who says, "Hello, Rob. I start my day at 5:30 a.m. for work. I twisted my ankle and I'm home for a few days. This morning, I watched both Hulk films from Universal. Disney should be in a need of a reboot of the Hulk. No Mark Ruffalo. Thoughts?"
You know, I'm a big fan of Ong Lee's Hulk movie. Outside of the MCU. I mean, I thought it was a wacky movie. It certainly swung for the fences, but I love seeing Hulk display his power. And I thought that, you know, the people forget the Ed Norton Hulk movie is part of the MCU. I know people don't look. I liked when Peter David was writing the Hulk and the Hulk became a bouncer in Las Vegas. You know, I like all that stuff. I mean, I thought there was some really interesting things, but yeah, the Hulk could use I think everybody wants the Hulk back to the way the Hulk used to be. Puny God. And yeah, the Hulk does need to come back that way. Yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, look, I thought Jessica Jones when they were on, I'm like, okay, whatever. I thought She-Hulk and Moon Knight were so botched. They were so upsetting to me, especially in retrospect. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but it's like it just really, really bought the She-Hulk more than anything else. Oh, that could have been a great show.
I know. And then apologies to Darth Plato. I have you on cue, but 1001 Johnny needs to leave, and so he asked if he could jump in to have a few words, Rob. So I'm going
to sir, 100%.
Have 1001 Johnny jump in, and then we'll go back to the queue. So let me go ahead and have him come on in. Johnny, you should be able to unmute now, and welcome.
What's up, man?
Hey. Oh, not much. Just finished laundry.
By the way, thanks for I've liked your presence in the shows, the last couple of shows I've done. So thanks for being there and watching.
Yeah, thanks for the title of the official scholar, though you're too kind. I am not qualified for such a job. I don't know.
Sure you are. I wanted to ask you if you watched the first episode of Monarch.
I haven't, because I let go of my Apple TV subscription a while ago, and I recently only got back my Mac subscription because the subscription stuff has changed. I am planning on getting back to Apple TV. It's just, I think it's, I do like a lot of the stuff on Apple TV, but I don't watch a lot.
Yeah, just wait until it's
I bought all of the first 2 seasons of Kung Fu.
Right.
Because my dad grew up on Kung Fu, and he said, "Why don't you watch stuff like that? Because it's good." And I check it out, and it's like, yes, it is. The only problem, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's like a lot of older TV, it's so long, and they're taking their time to breathe. But then it's also like the writers are still trying to figure out the show. So it's like, it's not that it's a slog, because I really like the episode where he comes across the priest who becomes blind, who's played by David Carradine's father. Yeah, that's a good episode. It's still slow though, and it's also like I tend to not watch a lot of things unless I have somebody to talk with it about. Like, I just got my sister to watch the new Urusei Yatsura anime with me, and it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, that's
because I've actually been able to watch Urusei Yatsura without anybody. This is my 4th time watching it, which makes it a lot more fun.
Nice. And also we've got, you know, they had the LA premiere of people went bananas for it. And
that is what I'm looking more forward to.
Man, I can't wait.
I'm going to be with my brothers for the holidays, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be watching -1. I'm the only one of me and my brothers that would have Apple TV. So if they're going to watch Monarch, they'd have to use my account.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see it. So I'm very excited.
Now, so, I been listening to everybody, and it's like, could comment on so many different things, like all the different topics. I'm being careful though, due to other ears that might not appreciate all the thoughts. I will say this, like, have you heard of Moon Channel? They have this video out right now about why do women like horror games. And me and my sister talk about stuff like this. And my sister says it's because men like explosions, women like psychological breakdowns, like the differences between men and women and what they appreciate in their storytelling.
I think it's very,
like, not to be too political, because I know this name has gotten you in.
No, I think
I know this name has gotten you in trouble before, but Jordan Peterson, he said men like visual pornography, women like written pornography, like your Harlequin novels.
Well, also, one of the things about the horror genre is it was proven in like the early aughts that horror had a huge female contingent. And what's really interesting, what I've really thought about? You never see men complaining that female protagonists front a lot of horror films.
Right. And like even Alien. Everybody uses Alien and Sarah Connor. And those are the first films are kind of horror films.
No one has ever bitched and moaned and complained about final girls in horror movies. Because I think that female protagonists in horror work better. Whether they're being seduced by the vampire or whether they're fighting the boogeymen, there's a certain resilience in female characters in horror that works better. And you never see men ever, especially online pundits. No one ever bitches that. That's why when I see people like, oh, men just don't want, women in genre cinema, I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think men love strong female protagonists when the stories serve the characters well. And no one complains about women in horror, because women in horror films work for that very reason. It's more psychological, because men feel that, oh my God, if you can't save a woman, you want a woman to save herself. That's why men love final girls, because they're great.
Have you heard this idea, like the man's ideal fantasy is the knight rescuing the princess from the tower? I've heard somebody say that the feminine equivalent to that is Beauty and the Beast, where the woman, through her actions, is able to tame the aggression in the man and civilize him.
Oh, I think that's all part of it, but
like,
the man,
perhaps that's an issue that, yeah.
Well, the thing about the Beast though is Beast is still a philosopher.
Sorry, am I interrupting, or are we having a bad signal?
It's not. No, it's a weird. I don't know. It's kind of weird. The signal's kind of weird today, but with Beast, the Beast is a philosopher. He's a poet. He was a man that had to deal with his what he had become. So he's soulful and honest, and he's a creature that has had to deal with adversity and overcome it. He's not just some shallow, muscle-bound idiot.
No, he's not shallow, but he's immature. That's the difference. Like he might have knowledge, he might be sophisticated, but he's not mature. He puts himself first, and in that sense, he's beast-like. So like civilized, as in making him more human, if you will.
Yeah, but he was cursed.
Oh yeah, because that's what his heart was like. That's
Right. I prefer Cocteau's version myself, but but yeah, it's a very interesting question,
Right.
and especially now. I mean, now today, we need. I think more men need to start reading Hemingway. But I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Yeah, I saw a clip of old Orson Welles talking about Hemingway, and like, he shares a very funny story of how they got into a fist fight and then became best friends.
Yep. No, we live in a very strange.
Right? You insult each other, you get into a fist fight, and then you
That's the way it used to be.
Strange time.
You know, it's like Keith David.
Still is, if you're allowed to do it.
Yeah, that's the real question.
It depends where you're living, even in the United States. Like, it could be further away from the city, because it's usually where the city is, because there's this idea of what it is to be modern, and that sometimes interferes with human nature because they're testing an idea and they haven't realized what they're fighting against just yet. That is to say themselves, their natural self. Well, anyway, my time's up. Always a pleasure. Sad our signal keeps messing up. I tried to be on that one Midnight Musings, but like Zoom, I seem to work better on. Anytime I try to get on your show, like my internet just won't let me.
Oh, anyway, yeah, it takes a lot of bandwidth.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, well, yes, sir. Take care.
All right, have a good rest of the day.
Good to see you, Johnny. And again, I was having some technical issues earlier too. The stream paused on us, so apologies for that. It looks like there's just a lot of traffic on the internet today. So now we're going to be returning to our regularly scheduled list of members here with Darth Plato. And I am wondering if Darth Plato has had a chance to watch Napoleon yet, because I've been hearing some rumors about reviews about the movie. So welcome, Darth. You should be able to unmute.
The official historian of this channel.
The official historian, exactly.
How you doing?
What's going on, man?
It's good to be back. I didn't really have anything I wanted to broach to you, but if you have any questions for me, here I am.
Well, okay, so it's interesting because you were the first person when we were talking about Napoleon, that when I was talking about how cool that battle scene was, you mentioned on one of these streams that that's not how it really happened. And I've read now that it has been confirmed what you said. Not that I would ever doubt you, but people just have decided, or people said that Ridley Scott just decided that he was going to do this even though it's not real. He's going to put it in the movie. And I got to tell you, man, I'm kind of disappointed by it. And you were the one that put me on the fact that, look, it's so cool in the movie. But now I wanted to ask you, where did that story even come from? Why does that story even exist?
Which story?
About that? Well, the battle about the two armies and the water and the ice.
It was three armies.
Okay, three armies.
It's sometimes called the Battle of Three Emperors.
Okay.
Because there were three emperors there.
So it really didn't happen the way they have it in the movie, where he drew in over this ice lake and they were hiding in the woods and they were able to ambush this army and send everybody into their icy demise.
No. The short answer is no.
Okay. But you were the first one that told me it wasn't true. And now I'm like, God damn it.
Now, hold on a second. There was an incident where Russian troops were retreating from the battle and they were on the ice and cannonballs broke the ice. And
okay, so that's kind of what happens. That's what happens.
Now, that did happen, but that wasn't intentional. It wasn't like Napoleon was lying in wait and saying, let's get these guys, show them fire.
Okay, well, okay, it did happen, though. In this movie.
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to illustrate the ruthlessness of the man and liken it to the whiff of grape shot incident that happened 10 years earlier in 1795, which is really what made his name. And he used cannon fire on the citizens of Paris.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. By the way, I have to say that I want to ask you about that. Because I know people stretch the truth when they make movies and all that.
Yeah, it's a movie.
So yeah.
Okay, he did the same thing with Gladiator. He took out things that weren't true in favor of making a movie, and I don't necessarily blame for that. I saw Gladiator. I don't know. I saw Gladiator probably 7 times in the theater. But
Gladiator is one of the greatest movies ever made. Come on.
Yeah, and when I was at Berkeley, one of the advisors for Gladiator was Eric Grun. He was one of the advisors. He told me a funny story about this. One of the scenes that they filmed. Have I told the story? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
They told the story about how a gladiator walked out into the arena, and they would do commercials like buy this, go, and he would give you directions for where in the form to go buy the stuff. And the test audience looked at that and like, no, that didn't happen. No, you're insulting our intelligence. They didn't have commercials in the day. Well, they did. Gladiators really did do that. And so they didn't do that scene in the movie. And my understanding is a lot of the Roman historians that were brought in to talk about that with Ridley Scott and the director team asked for their name not to be mentioned in the credits so that their reputation wouldn't be tarnished in academia.
Wow. I don't look at Gladiator as being historically accurate.
No, but it's fun.
Yeah, and I think that Gladiator, look, if you want to look up, the one thing Gladiator made me want to do is read the writings of Marcus Aurelius,
right?
Which I think everybody should do.
It's interesting,
yeah. But there's so many. I love Gladiator so much. Everything about it.
It's the same with Braveheart.
Yeah,
I love Braveheart.
Yeah, it's if you don't look at it as historically accurate and you look at it, same with I love JFK. Do I think JFK is a historically accurate movie? No. I think JFK is a myth.
Well, of course, we know what happened. He was shot by a Secret Service agent. The government's never going to admit that. Hey, let's make a movie about it.
Uh-oh. We'll see what happens there. There's more information coming out every day.
We've known for some time that it happened, but the government will never admit it. It was an accident.
Come on.
Come on, what?
It was an accident?
Of course it was an accident.
The JFK assassination was an accident?
Yeah. When the fire started happening, the president's car started to accelerate because they were under fire. So the car behind it started accelerating too. The Secret Service guy was holding an SR-15 or something like that. He was half standing on the car, half on the seat. He was moving on top of the seat, so when the car accelerated, he fell backwards, and the trigger went off. That's why when you see the film, watch the film yourself on YouTube. You can see he's being hit in the back of the head. It goes out the front, and it hits the guy in the front seat, right, who was the governor of Texas.
All right.
Just watch the film yourself. It's obvious that's what happened.
The whole thing was an accident. Nobody admitted to that after all these years.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. All I'm saying is that myths of these historical events, I've often said
there's a lot of stories like that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just think that the best fiction has truth in it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, human behavior, I think the actual truth in fiction sometimes trumps the truth of reality.
Truth is stranger in fiction.
And
not to be cliche, but it's true.
Yeah. So the question is, within the context of the story, you have to make people believe. You have to be able to convey your message. And I think that Gladiator does. I mean, if when Quintus turns to Maximus and says, people should know when they're conquered. And when Maximus turns to him and says, would you, Quintus? Would I? I mean, this is,
and we know the answer to that is no.
Well, yeah, the great, it's great. It's all great stuff. And it's and the funny thing about Gladiator was the production of that movie was a mess. They were writing the script as they went. They didn't even know. I mean, the fact that they were able to my two favorite examples in cinema history of movies that were kind of made up as they went. Gladiator is one, and Wim Wenders' Wings of Desire is the other. And they're two of my favorite movies of all time. And they were really constructed as they went along. And that's way, but hey, it worked.
Thank you, Darth. We got Stubble Nut Shane coming up next. Here we go.
Wait, but before you hit Stubble, I gotta say what Tracy,
yes.
A World in Pajamas, send in a super chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot about that. Let me put it up.
I just gotta say, she goes, I just finished work and I see Rob with a jug of wine. This is the official Fernando Borrero memorial.
Yep.
Jug of wine. Here's to Fernando.
Now, she is asking, what is the wine? I'm having an Indian takeaway with a glass.
Oh.
And just wanted to send you my regards. What do you have there, Rob?
It's really funny. I'm drinking this, and I thought I bought a Pinot, but it's a Merlot. It was funny because I was late to the stream, and I had to go buy poop bags for the puppies, and I had to go buy toilet paper for us. And I realized I didn't have any alcoholic beverages in the house to drink, believe it or not. And then I went and grabbed a bottle of wine very quickly as a last minute thing because I said everybody we'd have a toast.
Yeah.
Because I've been, believe it or not, I've been off the sauce,
Yeah.
So.
All right, bringing in Stubble now. Welcome, Stubble. How are you, my friend? You should be able to unmute.
Yeah. Hi.
What's going on, man?
Well, drink to Fernando.
Here's to Fernando. I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Well, I had a few things to bring up and more things to comment on that people have said already. So I don't know how I've managed this, but the first thing I wanted was, a show a few days ago, there was someone who wrote in a super chat about the short story competition.
Yes.
Yeah, and they say, "Oh, great! Then I can do my Superman story." But I think you can't do, rights issues and so on.
Yeah, no, all these stories have to be original.
Yeah, so I think it would be good if you more or less mention that the next time or something.
Yeah, I've got official rules, and everybody that submitted short stories, those are all in play still. Yeah. And yeah, because we're gonna do this and just make it happen. But yeah, it's got to be original stories, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna again, we'll crowdfund it because I want to make a leather-bound, slip-cased version of this book.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to sprinkle it with actually known authors and people so it's got a little bit of attraction to people outside of this community. So
right. And someone mentioned Hemingway earlier, and he is credited with the shortest story ever written. It's 6 words.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's "For sale, baby shoes never worn." It's the shortest story.
Wow, that's makes me sad.
Yeah. So I just mentioned that because someone mentioned Hemingway earlier. But I finished Mayberry Patient Zero.
And
I think it would be great as a TV series.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. First of all, when you read it is so. Now, to be fair, they tried to make it. I have the pilot script when they tried to do it back in 2010. It's even written by somebody I like and respect. It's terrible.
Yeah,
because they didn't understand. Now, the fact that is not a TV series is baffling to me.
Yeah, I don't know if they could stretch it to 10 episodes because I think maybe 6 episodes or something like that.
Well, they could do 2 books a season.
Yeah, that would work.
Because the latest book I thought was really good, Cave 13.
Yeah,
and especially after what's happened in the Middle East, it's like the thing about Jonathan Mayberry that scares me is that Mayberry, he's clearly talking to people that know what they're talking about. Now, I'm not saying that there's zombies and vampires and alien technology, but he's clearly talking to people, because when you read the stuff that's in his books about the technology and the military and all that, and then it shows up, and I'm like the show. Because I was tweeting about his books back in like 2013, and he had The King of Plagues like sent to me. He had a galley sent to me, and he knows what's up. And like, not all of his books are genius. I mean, they're all pretty good. They're all good reads, and there is a pattern to the books. But Cave 13 was his 13th Ledger novel, and they're still great.
Yeah, and you were speaking about the Middle East, and I just thought the other day that maybe it was fortunate that they pushed Dune Part 2.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and
with the jihad themes and all of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't think people are necessarily aware of that unless they've read the books. But yes,
yeah,
I mean, and by the way, people think the white savior myth with Paul Atreides, it doesn't end well. I wish I could explain to people like, yeah, it doesn't work it's not what you think it is. And a cursory glance at Wikipedia could tell you that, but nobody wants to
right.
But
anyway, I'm doing my reread of the Dresden Files. I guess have you started the book, or
I finished. Oh, I finished it.
Yeah,
and now I want to read. Now I want to read. I was going to say it's right over here because I've been reading it here at the. I've been reading it here. It's funny. That was a book. I tore through that book.
Yeah,
it's great.
I would say that the second book is maybe a step down, but the rest of the books are good to great to awesome to masterpieces.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I mean, I could see that because when you're writing this kind of genre fiction, I mean, I love the Ledger series. They're not high art.
No,
you know, but what he does with the horror tropes and the characters and the Tom Clancy military research of it all makes them. Now I have to ask you something.
Right,
in America, I'm reading a lot about the crime problem and the gang warfare that's happening in Sweden.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a problem in some cities.
What's going on?
Well, I'm not the expert on this, but there's gangs that are of both national and international nature. That's recruiting young people, and it's mostly gang wars between each other, but there's always casualties when those things happen. And so yeah. It's a problem, but I'm not the expert on this.
But what I mean, I've been doing cursory. Are these drug gangs? Are these human? Like, what are they fighting over? Like, is there turf wars over territory?
Yeah. I'm not into. I don't know the issues, but I guess it's power struggles and retributions for killings and stuff.
Right, because I keep reading that's becoming a huge problem in Sweden, and I'm like, why are there gang wars in Sweden? But then again, I've seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I get it.
Yeah, but trying to stem the problem, but it's a problem, but it doesn't happen where I live. It's in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of it, but I'm not studying it.
I was just curious because, like, out of the blue, this past couple weeks, I've been reading all these articles about the gang problem in Sweden. Are they going to call in the military? I'm like, that's a big problem. So,
well, thank you so much, Stubble. Great to see you as always. And we've got Pedro coming in next. Pedro, welcome. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
How things going?
They're going well, I guess.
Okay.
Up and down, here and there. Same as always. Some things are going well, some things are turning to shit.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been here in a while, so I'm a bit like not used to seeing you without your beard now.
Oh, why didn't always. I mean, I always shave my beard. I on and off, comes and goes.
Yeah, I know. I just got used to you having a beard. That's why.
Oh yeah, I you know what it was. Work in crisis medicine, and I saw this. It's a really great picture of me, but I look 100 years old, and I was like, I'm shaving my beard. Now I just have to like, really start getting my face tight. I got to be like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver.
Yeah, you don't need surgery though.
No. I mean, I know the skin's good.
Yeah,
I just got to get everything, work out.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that you haven't forgotten about the short story competitions. That's good.
No, I'm going to jump back into that in a big way because I want to get that book out by May. I mean, it's a tall order, but because maybe BJ Alley will come back.
Oh yeah.
Remember BJ Alley? He even made videos that wantonly made fun of me openly, which I loved, and then he got mad.
Yeah,
I said it's BL Alley. Thank you, Justin. Did I say BJ? My mind's in the gutter. Yeah, BL Alley.
Yeah. He did keep sending me DMs saying like, are you happy that he's spending money? Are you happy that people are spending money? I was like, I don't really have an answer to that, but yeah, hopefully.
No, it's true, but they're going to spend more money because I'm having them professionally edited. Because you have to. You can't publish a book and not have an editor who's an actual editor. I can't do that. I am not qualified to be an editor. Yeah. So, and that's the whole reason why. Here's another thing. Do you know why people charge money for contest entries? Because it weeds out the people that aren't the serious ones. I mean, you have to have people that are, and our desire is not just to have a contest. We're actually going to publish a book. So if you publish a book, it has to be good, but no one has to pay again. But I think that I've looked into other short story, and also here's unfortunately the reality of short story competitions or screenplay competitions is everyone's using AI now to write stories.
Mine's AI.
Yeah, and that's become a huge problem. I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but there are people that are sharing ways to tell stories are written via AI, and these are people that are running short story contests. And so those tools are vital to have, and you might have to pay for those tools. And I think it's only fair because you don't want to be deluged with a bunch of AI written stories.
Well, if you open up the contest now, then that's going to be a problem because obviously with AI now people have those tools to do it. When you launched the contest the first time, people didn't have those tools.
But people using AI aren't necessarily inclined to pay entry fees either.
The first time you did the contest, the deadline was Valentine's Day, and I did manage to get it done on time within Valentine's Day.
Well, everybody who submitted their stories, we have all their stories, so those are the first ones under consideration.
Yeah, because mine was actually I decided to tie it into Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
the only problem is maybe it's now slightly dated because I did actually date the
well, I am going to ask people if you've already submitted, and if you want to resubmit your story, you can absolutely do that. So if you want to upgrade it, you can.
Yeah, I don't know. I might change a few lines here and there, but I do, and I knew I was a little bit like when you come at a story, sometimes you think you're done, and then you come at it a slightly different way, and then you think you can add a bit more dialogue, or you can flesh out things a bit.
That's the trap. You're never done.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think people fall into that. And
I have this thing, I'm watching, so I'm almost finished watching season 1 of the new Quantum Leap, yeah.
Okay.
And I have really mixed thoughts because when I'm watching it, and I studied script writing, and I'm consciously watching this show, and I'm thinking of ways to improve it. Like like this, the dialogue, the actual dialogue itself, and it's like I can like, I know I should just watch it passively, but I can't like not watch it and like, yeah. You don't need like there's always these like it's the problems with modern Quantum Leap are not just that show, it's modern TV in general, and it really frustrates me, and it's what puts me off watching modern TV, is that one of the examples I would give is, for instance, having characters make constant references, pop culture references. It's like people don't talk like that in real life. Like it's not like when a character goes, "Oh, come on, you have the almanac from Back to the Future with you." It's like nobody, like, first of all, you're expecting people to know the reference, and second of all, people don't talk like that in real life. Like, no, I'm not going to say that in real life. And can I just say, like, for whatever flaws the original Quantum Leap series had, it felt more grounded in reality, regardless of all it did. Even in its silliest moments, the dialogue at least helped it feel grounded in some cases. Whereas when I watch modern Quantum Leap, it feels kind of unreal. It feels kind of the characters are saying things that make sense to some extent, but then certain things feel rushed or not explained. And then the characters aren't behaving. And another thing that really irritates me about reboot shows in general is their inability to follow up the original, to answer questions from the original. Like they've left it very vague with the new Quantum Leap. They haven't answered any of the questions, like what's happened in between, or like they've just like left things unexplained, and it's really frustrating for me as a viewer. Like if you've binge watched or you've watched the original show, then you go to the new show. Like, why are they in LA? Why are they not in New Mexico? It's like it's never explained. You're just supposed to, And then the whole thing about not having a waiting room. The actual one of the directors of Quantum Leap said in an interview last week. They said in an interview why there's no waiting room, and they said that, oh well, that's the kind of thing you would do in an 80s or 90s TV series. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. The waiting room could be used in any era of TV. Saying that it's an 80s or 90s thing, that's just weird to me.
Well, look, and you see it in Star Trek, especially in Star Trek Discovery. Anybody who takes over the mantle of an ongoing franchise or a franchise, like Quantum Leap is supposed to take place in the same continuity as the original Quantum Leap, isn't it? Yeah, so it's supposed to take place. Well, what happens is, first of all, the people they hire haven't even fucking watched Quantum Leap. They and when they do, they can't look back at the original Quantum Leap and extrapolate in their own minds. Like, okay, if this actually happened, they want to get. That's just baggage they don't really want to deal with. They want to make their own show today, and what's happened is the people that are making TV and movies today, they're not literary people. They've only ever watched TV and movies, so that's all they know. And storytelling, the mechanics of storytelling, the real understanding of how to create characters and plot and all of that is ancient. Those ideas are ancient, and yet all they've seen is and it's only a distillation of narrative from a Western American perspective. So the people that are creating modern television today are woefully uneducated when it comes to how to actually craft a narrative. They only know how to craft a narrative in a very certain method or certain way. And then people roll along and go, oh, well, now we have to craft this narrative the way it's fashionable now. Let's work on the flashback structure. So what you're watching is compromised from the very beginning, because nobody decides to make something pure unto itself, if that makes any sense. They don't think to themselves like, okay, let's just assume Sam and let's do Quantum Leap the way it was and go, okay, there's been this much time that's passed. What would transpire in terms of this ability? And they don't think that way. They just want to make it the way they want to make it. So nothing that happened before ever ends up really mattering because they're just going to change it anyway. And that's why a lot of these reboot shows don't work. Some do, but most of the time they don't. Unless you're going to decide to say, okay, we're reinventing this whole thing. That's why I think Ron Moore's and David Icke's Battlestar Galactica works as well as it does. They didn't make it in continuity. And if it was in continuity, they didn't do it. Like, I think a great example of how it does work is House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. Because House of the Dragon is obviously a prequel to Game of Thrones, but it really works well. But anyway, I don't know. Just me. I think Roberto cut you off, Pedro, so I can't see. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be frustrating, but
sorry about that. Yeah, I had cut off there, and we're at the 2-hour mark, Rob. So I think we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye to our friends on YouTube, but we will continue the chat offline for those of you who are here. Once again, raise a glass to Fernando when you have a chance.
Here it is. Fernando Barrero, rest in peace, sir. He was only 57 years old.
I know.
57.
So with that, we are going to say goodbye to our friends on YouTube, but we will continue the
can I take a quick break from
we'll make that part of the break here now. So we'll take a little break and we'll be back in a few so that Rob can tend to other business.
I'm gonna go drain the main vein. Who's gonna lie? I'll tell you right now.
I didn't want to say anything, but we'll go ahead.
I'm doing so. I've had a jug and a half of water, and I've been drinking wine. I mean, my God. My powerful prostate still works at my age, thank God, but it doesn't work that much. I can't fill my body with 2 of these. You know what I'm saying?
All right, folks. Well, we'll say goodbye to our friends online, and we will continue the chat for those in the members.
I'll be right back.
Take care, guys.